This past March, my husband and I decided to take a road trip through New Mexico. We saw and did so many amazing things, including hiking through a sandy desert, taking a tramway to the top of a mountain, climbing into ancient cliff dwellings, and so many different art exhibits, including this interactive one. And you can't forget all of the amazing food that we ate. Of course, I had to take my yarn and crochet hook with me and crochet along the way, so I hope you join me on this journey as I crochet through New Mexico. So as soon as we got off our plane, we jumped in our rental car and drove the 3.5-hour drive to Cloudcroft, New Mexico. Cloudcroft, New Mexico is a small village located in the Lincoln National Forest. It is also located in the Sacramento Mountains, which was quite a change from driving almost 4 hours in the desert. During our car ride, I took advantage of some crochet time, crocheting some daisy squares for the Summer Days daisy bag that I was creating, which is a pattern by All About Amy. Thought that this would be an easy project to bring with me because it didn't really require that much yarn, and I could easily crochet the granny squares over and over again without having to keep looking at a pattern. But if you are a crocheter who loves to travel, I do have a video on all of my travel tips for crocheters that you're definitely going to want to check out, especially if you're someone that struggles with motion sickness like me. Once we finally made it to our Airbnb, I was pleasantly surprised at how cute and cozy this little room was, just snuggled in the Sacramento Mountains. It had a cute little balcony, which unfortunately it was pretty cold while we were there, so we did not get to utilize this balcony, but that would be great in the summer when it's a little bit warmer. But I was thoroughly surprised. It was very tidy and clean, just a great stay while we were in Cloudcroft. And after a whole day of travel, I was able to complete 5 of my granny squares for my bag. The pattern uses a blue color yarn for the outside of the square, however, I decided to go with green. Green is my favorite color, so of course I had to pick a green color, and I thought this would fit the vibe of my New Mexico trip. The next day, my husband and I decided to take the 40-minute drive to White Sands National Park, which honestly I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I can say that this has probably been one of the most beautiful places I have ever visited. We took a couple short hikes through the White Sands, which, if you've ever walked in snow before, that's basically what it felt like walking through. Or like if you're walking on the beach with all the sand. It was not an easy hike. I was definitely working out some muscles that I've never worked before. And just to add to the fun, there were some high winds that day, so we probably were breathing in more sand than we probably should have, but it just added to the experience. For lunch, we decided to head back to Cloudcroft and try out the Cloudcroft Brewing Company and got some salads, pizza, and beer, which was excellent, by the way. After lunch, we decided to work off all that beer and pizza and take a hike on the OSHA Trail in Cloudcroft, New Mexico, which just was quite a lovely and refreshing hike. We were able to hike up to this beautiful overlooking all of the Sacramento Mountains. After our hike and relaxing for a bit, we decided to head back to White Sands National Park to experience a sunset. I had seen so many beautiful pictures of sunset at White Sands, so I knew that we had to go back to experience this in person. which literally we just pulled up to White Sands National Park, got out of our car, walked out to a dune, and had a dune all to ourselves as we experienced the sunset. As the sun began to set, the colors all around us began changing in such a beautiful way. This has got to be my favorite sunset I've ever experienced of all time. And honestly, videos just don't even do it justice. You have to be there to experience this in person. From the purples to the blues to the pinks, orange and yellows, it just took my breath away. The next day, we hopped in our car and made the 4-hour drive to Santa Fe, New Mexico. But before we made it to our Airbnb, we decided to treat ourselves and stopped at a spa in Santa Fe called 10,000 Waves. We rented our own hot tub room, which had a private sauna and private bathroom, so we got some much needed relaxation time in here. I decided not to bring something to crochet and decided to bring my Kindle to get some relaxation time while reading. Before leaving, we also got a much needed massage. Our Airbnb in Santa Fe was a cute little casita nestled in the mountains, which had gorgeous views all around us. Unfortunately, we didn't get to enjoy the patio because it was pretty cold and snowy while we were there, but the inside of the casita was extremely cozy. And it was so cool at night outside. I really wish it would have been a little bit warmer because this would have been the perfect location to crochet. For breakfast, we decided to stop at Harry's Roadhouse, which we loved it so much that we even went there a second time. Next, we decided to make the trip up to Los Alamos, New Mexico, which is where the famous Manhattan Project was conducted, where a group of scientists created the first atomic bomb. There were many historical buildings and also museums, including a nature center and science museums, which were all super interesting to check out. The nature center also had this gorgeous overlook of Los Alamos. Just a short drive from Los Alamos is the Bandelier National Monument in New Mexico, which is the ancestral home of the Pueblo people. Here we hiked on the Pueblo Loop Trail, which takes you along some of the cavities or the small alcoves in the side of the mountain. There are some ladders that allow you to explore some of these alcoves, and it was super interesting learning the history along the way. We decided to venture even further to the Alcove House, which was just a short hike off of the Pueblo Loop Trail, which you do have to climb 140 feet up into the mountain, so it was not easy by any means. If you're afraid of hikes, it's probably not going to be for you. But once we made it to the top, it was well worth it because of the gorgeous views. The Alcove House was home to roughly 25 ancestral Pueblo people, which I can't even imagine living up here this high in the mountain. Next, we decided to head to the town center of Santa Fe and just explore the area. We decided to venture into some old churches, including the Cathedral Basilica of St. Francis, which had some gorgeous artwork and some beautiful stained glass. It was a gorgeous building. also decided to make a stop at the Loreto Chapel, which showcases the miraculous staircase, which has 3 mysteries in Santa Fe, including who built it, the type of wood used, and the physics of its construction. We also made a stop at the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum, which showcased many of her original artwork. I was also able to come away with this gorgeous print of one of her original pieces. Our next venture in Santa Fe was Meow Wolf, which is an interesting concept to say the least. It is an underground art collective of hundreds of different artists and storytellers from all over the world, and together it forms an immersive art experience. It's almost like you're exploring different worlds in each room. Our next stop was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which I think we struck gold with all of our Airbnbs that we were staying in on this trip. This little casita in Albuquerque was absolutely perfect. It was tidy and clean and super close to the town center of Old Town. We were able to explore Old Town, which had a lot of historical sites and local art shops, and lots of local restaurants, including Gobble This, which is where I probably had the best tacos in my life. Not too far away from Old Town is the National Museum of Nuclear Science and History, which was one of the top things my husband wanted to do. It had a lot of information about nuclear science and also had some planes used in the US military. The next day, my husband and I decided to take the Sandia Peak tramway up to the top of the Sandia Mountains. This provided some of the best views of the mountains and Albuquerque. The 15-minute ride up to the top was absolutely gorgeous. Once we made it to the top, we decided to take a hike up to the Kiwanis Cabin, which overlooks the mountain range and Albuquerque. Now let me just say we were definitely not prepared for this hike. It was a lot more snowy and icy than we were expecting. However, the views were just breathtaking. The Kiwanis Cabin was built around 1930 by the Civilian Conservation Corps and was planned by a local Kiwanis group. It is now uninhabitable at the moment, as you can tell, but it was a very cool thing to hike up to. I mean, just take a look at all these incredible views. After our hike, we decided to make a stop at the 10-3 restaurant at the top of the Sandia Mountains before going back down, which offered these gorgeous views while we ate our lunch. We then decided to finish out our day by going to a totally different weather extreme, from snowy mountaintops to a sandy hot desert. We spent some time exploring the Petroglyph National Monument, which is one of the largest petroglyph sites in North America. Unfortunately, our last day in Albuquerque, we experienced our first dust storm, which basically meant us just hunkering down in our Airbnb all day. However, the one nice thing about it is it gave me some time just to relax, watch some TV, and crochet some more granny squares, especially since I didn't have much time to do it throughout our trip because I was just so engaged in exploring all that New Mexico had to offer. With all that free time I had that day, I was able to complete almost every single one of my Daisy Granny squares, so I was super happy about that. Unfortunately, I did not have enough time to complete the whole bag while I was in New Mexico, but I definitely knew I was going to finish it as soon as I got home. But with that note, we're going to go ahead and get packed up and get ready to go home from our trip. Hi everyone, so I am now back home from my New Mexico trip. I didn't end up finishing the Summer Days Daisy bag just because I finished all the granny squares, but I did not have time to actually put the bag together just because I finally finished the squares at the airport, and I honestly didn't feel like putting the bag together at the airport. I thought it'd be easier to wait till I got home, block the squares first, and then go from there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up my crochet project for my New Mexico trip, and I'll show you guys all the finished product. I just finished crocheting all the daisy squares together for my bag, so all I have left is just the strap and then I'll be all done. And here we have my completed Summer Days Daisy bag, and I am so proud of it. It looks so good. It was actually my first bag I've ever crocheted, and I think it turned out great. I am super excited to wear this out and maybe use it as an extra yarn bag or just to wear out and about. But either way, I am in love with this bag. Definitely check out the pattern if it's something that you're interested in making. I highly recommend. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend this journey through New Mexico with me. New Mexico is full of so much history and natural beauty. You're definitely going to want to take a trip there at some point in your life. It was an amazing destination and a nice relaxing break from the normal stresses of life. If you enjoyed this video, definitely make sure to like and subscribe to my channel for more crochet and travel vlogs. I can't wait to connect with you, and I hope you have a great week, and as always, happy crocheting. Bye everyone.